Coach Donovan. Starting the center of the room, fourth row.
Gary Smith, Florida Times Union. Billy, you guys came one game away from playing against Steve in '87. I wonder, do you recall any chance encounters you might have had that week at the Final Four with him? And what are your recollections of watching Steve play, either in person or on TV from that time?
Well, against Syracuse, I wish we were one play away. We were quite a few than one play away. But, we both obviously got out the same year. He had an unbelievable year. Always had a lot of respect for him as a player. Was great with their motion offense and the way they played. And it was just a tremendous shooter, great free throw shooter, certainly the catalyst to that team. And a major part of why they won the national championship his senior year.
We'll go to the second row first. I've seen 2 or 3 hands. We'll try to get to everybody. Go ahead.
Yeah, Coach Kevin Brockway, Gainesville Sun. Billy, your reaction to signing the contract extension at Florida till 2019, what it says about your commitment to them, their commitment to you, and going a little further?
Yeah, I was actually a little bit surprised it came out. That happened last year. So it was like I'm getting congratulated on this new news. But that was done last year. So, I mean, obviously very thankful, very appreciative of Dr. Matchin and Jeremy and what they've done for myself and my family. But that was something that happened at the end of last season.
Go to the back row, right side. Pat?
Pat Dooley, Gainesville Sun. Billy, 2 questions. One, can you talk a little bit about what this run has been like with Billy there on the team, and secondly, can you just talk about, you guys have been really good about not turning the ball over, and this is a team that's like 4th, I think, in the nation in steals per possession. How important that is for you?
Well, it's been great for me as a father. I've always said this, is that when your children go off to college, there's always that wonder of, will they ever be back? Will you see them a lot? Is it going to be a long-distance relationship? Will it be kept in touch, over the phone? And maybe the off-season you get a chance to see them. So when he decided to come back, certainly he's went to a lot of our games. He's been to a lot of NCAA tournament games. But now to have him in the locker room, on the court, part of practice every single day has really been great for me. Very rewarding. Very thankful that I can share, these times with him. It's been a lot of fun for me. Pat, would you say that the turnover part of it? I guess they're terrific. At coming up with steals, which generates fast break points for them. I mean, they're terrific on the break. They're very fast. They're a great passing team. They're an unselfish team, and certainly missed shots, turnovers, loose ball turnovers in the middle of the floor. They're great at taking those plays and turning them into points.
Third row on the end, Mike.
Yeah, Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel. Billy, it seems like a lot of people thought Chris Walker was going to come in and be an immediate superstar. Do you think expectations are unfair on some of these high school college freshmen coming in, and what has Chris's development been like?
I definitely think, Mike, I think that's something that happens to a lot of these guys is they get blown up, and it's almost impossible to reach the level of expectations that people have. And I think when Chris was getting closer to being cleared to play for us, I think people thought I was downplaying, him, just to kind of take pressure off him. But I was with him for a month in practice before he played, and I knew where he was at. And for him, it's going to be a process. There's a lot of things that he needs to learn. There's a lot of growth that he needs. He needs to get physically stronger. He missed a whole summer and fall of lifting. He really missed a whole summer and fall of conditioning. He's been a great kid to coach. He keeps working and getting better, but he's got a long road ahead of him to get to the level that he needs and wants to get at. Now, I think his individual talent in terms of running and jumping, shot blocking, there's things that he's very gifted at that come easy to him. But I also think the days of standing in the lane in a high school game and daring people to come down the lane and blocking shots, like those days are over with now. Now he's got to worry about screening action, being screened, guarding and pick and rolls, guarding big guys that shoot, being in the right spot. There's a lot that goes into it that I think he even himself at times has been overwhelmed by. But he continues to get better, and I think that with the attitude he has now, if he continues to keep that and doesn't get frustrated with how far behind he is, that's the thing that's been most impressive to me, is I think when you deal with a guy that's as highly exposed as he is, the frustration can seep in after a couple games. Well, okay, I'm fine not playing, but why am I not playing now? And he's not been like that. I think he knows coming in mid-season, he hasn't had the attitude of wanting to disrupt our team. I think he's tried to contribute and help however he can.
We have 2 or 3 more, same area. We'll go ahead and go to the fourth row, excuse me.
Don Wade, Memphis Daily News. Billy, if you could just speak to whatever pressure you might feel now, kind of trying to live up to your own reputation, having made deep runs, and when you were a young coach before the first deep run in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I don't know. I think all of us as coaches want to move on and advance in the NCAA tournament. I've always said this: there's no easy exit out of the NCAA tournament. I like the fact that we're having a chance to play and compete. And I think every game you get a chance to win, it becomes more difficult, becomes more challenging, it becomes harder. I think the pressure that I place on myself would be more internal in terms of trying to get our team prepared and ready to play. I don't think my intensity or my passion has changed today from where it was 10 years ago as it relates to that. I think when you go through different experiences, you learn different things. But, for me, I'm just excited that we're still playing and have a chance to compete and play tomorrow. Well, I think in those situations when you're a young coach, you're always in a position where you're trying to prove yourself. I don't think that that's any different for anybody in any job. You get offered a job and you're young, you get a promotion, you're young, you're going to want to prove that you can do the job and do it well. But I think, as I've gotten older, we all want to win. We all want to win national championships. I mean, I think every coach would tell you that. But for me, there's a lot I've learned, as it relates to life and as it relates to, the drama of the NCAA tournament. What are these guys going to take from this experience, and how equipped are these guys to take the next step in their life? And the process that we go through as a group, to me, putting it in a capsule, where we were the first day of practice with Wilbekin suspended 6 games, Dorian Finney-Smith suspended 3, DeMontre Harris not on our team, injuries, playing without, a point guard in a game with Wilbekin and Hill being out, dealing with Willia Get's knee, and Eli Carter can't get himself healthy. Our team was in complete shambles and disarray when we came back to school in August. And to me, to see what those kids have done in terms of trying to come together as a team, that stuff to me is really what it's about, more so than just the end result of winning. Because we all want to win, and I hope we go all the way through. I mean, I'd love that. But that stuff I probably have a lot more appreciation for now than maybe I did when I was younger.
Same row.
Billy, Tom Corrin with ABC in Tampa. As you know, the coaching carousel continues every year, and John Pelfrey's name has been mentioned as a possible candidate for the USF job in Tampa. First of all, would you speak of John? And secondly, that would be a program you would endorse to John to take over if he was interested in?
Being in the state for 18 years, I think South Florida's got great potential. I think John would be terrific there. I've not spoken to anybody from South Florida. I don't know where their interest level would be at. I think John, my recommendation to John, I really haven't talked to John much about it. I think the one thing I respect about him is he's not a guy that's just out there chasing jobs. I think he would want to be in a place where it was a good fit for him, good fit for the school, and they wanted John. But John would be tremendous, at South Florida. And my recommendation to him would be that would be something that he would need to seriously consider if there was interest on their part.
One row behind.
John Martin, Commercial Appeal. You've recruited Memphis in the past. You've got Chris Gioza coming in 2014. What's your fundamental view of Memphis as a place for talent that you could get to Florida?
Well, I think it's a great city for basketball. When you look at Memphis Tigers, they have great support. The city of Memphis has always produced a lot of really good, talented basketball players year in and year out. It's always hard, I think, coming into this city when Memphis really wants a player here. I think it's got to be maybe a unique situation where maybe there's not a need for a player at Memphis and the kid is looking maybe to leave the city or the state. But I think if you look at a lucrative talent-based pool of a city, Memphis has got as good a talent as anybody in the country.
Same row.
Billy, if this game were to turn into a roll-up tempo, high-scoring game, you guys have excelled on the defensive end. You feel like this team's equipped, though, to really put up some numbers if necessary?
Yeah, Edgar, I don't necessarily. I mean, we all want the ball to go in the basket. I mean, I hope we score 120 tomorrow, but we haven't done that this year. But I think that we want to play up tempo. UCLA wants to play up tempo. There's things that you have to do in playing up tempo. You got to take care of the ball. You don't want to give up easy baskets. But certainly for us, I mean, we're pressing. So when we press, we're trying to force tempo. We would like to play fast, but there's things that we have to do inside of playing fast. And when you're playing against a team as gifted and as talented as UCLA is on the break, in their half-court offense, you want to make sure that you're able to get matched up and not give up a lot of easy baskets.
Left side, fifth row. Go ahead.
Ryan Carty, Orange County Register. Coach, UCLA has lost, or you guys had beat UCLA 3 times in the last 8 years in the NCAA tournament. Any memories specifically from 06, 07, 11 games? And is there any striking similarities or differences with this team from those past teams?
It's hard just because I know the jersey, letters across the jersey still say UCLA, I think. But, for our team, everything's really changed. We got totally different team. Totally different players. They have a different coach. They have different players. So I'm not so sure what we would be able to take from any of those past games, past experiences. Certainly got a lot of respect for UCLA, their tradition, what they've been able to accomplish, over a very, very long period of time. But I'm not so sure there's anything with our guys that we would bring to the table that would help us get prepared to play them tomorrow. Well, I think they were, for us, I mean, it was some very, very challenging games. Certainly for us getting a chance to win a national championship. And, I think, Ben did a great job of, 3 straight Final Fours, I think, at that one stretch. They were playing very, very well. Great defensive teams. Ben did a great job, I thought, defensively, really hard to score against. But, I think even back, I don't even know how many years ago it was when we played them in, maybe it was Tampa, another very, very challenging game. That would be it.
Third row, right side.
Richard Johnson, GatorCountry.com. Coach, how do you think this team adjusts to playing at different tempos compared to other teams you've had?
I think we're pretty good at it. Sometimes you want the game to go up and down the floor. It doesn't go that way, and you got to play in the half court. And there's other times the game does get going up and down the floor because there's a lot of missed shots or turnovers, and you got to be able to play that way. So I think this time of year, most teams that are playing right now can play a lot of different ways, tempo-wise. And I think we're accustomed to being able to play a lot of different tempos.
This will be our final question for Coach Donovan. Second row.
Yeah, Kevin Brockway, Gainesville Sun. Billy, I read where UCLA is playing zone about 37% of their possessions. Just your thoughts on their zone and how effective that you guys have been this season in terms of facing zone defenses.
I think for them, they're going to mix their defenses. They've played man the majority of the time. They've played some zone. They've got length in their zone. They've got size. Certainly I think against any zone, ball movement, player movement, good passing, good spacing, always becomes important. I think we know we're going to see zone. We're going to see man. We're going to see both defenses tomorrow. That's what they do. I think they'll play to their identity and who they've been the entire year. So, for us, both going against their man and going against their zone, we'll have to do a good job.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.